Inconsolable terrors that motivate preppers. Hopefully it won't take terror and fear to motivate you, but it does for some. When you see someone you love just got burnt out of their home and they are homeless, when you see someone lose their job and they can't pay their bills because they don't have an emergency fund, when you're in these situations that you can't be consoled, you can't fix it for someone else, and you feel so helpless because you're witnessing these people suffer because they didn't do things ahead of time to put themselves in a situation to weather these adversities. They're not really your problem, but yet you might say, well, they are my friends, they are my family, they are my neighbors. And so it's a difficult path, to balance other people's poor decision making and preparation and yours. And so these are the things that sometimes bothers very conscientious preppers. And for myself, I have videos on this, if you should or should not make some small preparations for friends, families, and neighbors and so forth. But this is really more about just dealing with the emotional burden. And simply put, you have to be okay with the realities to unfold, because it's not your fault, most likely, that the house burnt down. I mean, hopefully you didn't burn their house down. But, and of course, it's not your fault that they lost their job, or it's not their fault they got in a car wreck and got injured, or they got robbed and they have hardship now, or whatever. These are things that do happen. It happens every day all across the world. Probably thousands and thousands of people have major fallouts, maybe even tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, since the population is so large now. But what we do know is that chances are you yourself are going to have a problem eventually, at least one or two, at least a major problem or a major burden or a stress load or something. Someone is going to die. Something's going to probably happen to you. You may have an accident. You may have to go to the hospital. You may have a near-death experience because something happened very, traumatic. You may lose your job or whatever. I mean, these things are just statistically going to happen. And because you know that now, because you just watched this video, you can actually help plan so you're not going to be an emotional burden on anybody else and a financial burden on anybody else or anything else burden on your society or anything else in your government. So just because you can't control other people's bad decision making doesn't mean that you don't have the responsibility to control your own. And by controlling your own, you set in motion, maybe in ways you never even knew or never will know, that other people follow, or people go, oh, wow. I really noticed that when you went to the grocery store, you bought more than we had on our list. And but I understand you put them in the very back of the cupboard in a place that we don't normally access. And I think that you're doing that because you want to have a little bit of preparation in case that ice storm that happened last year happens again. And then you can say, well, you're correct, or yes, maybe we can do a little bit more this year than last because we got very close from running out of food, my dear, or whatever the conversation is. And so just be mindful of that. You can't control others so much, but you can definitely, control yourself. And you can somewhat be a motivator, if not have some implications in, I guess the word would be influence. I mean, you certainly can. People influence me. I'm sure you've had influence. I think that you probably had role models. My role models kind of tend to come in and out of my life. There's people that are enduring and that have lasted, but in the modern day, it's hard to find a public figure that you can stick with for a long term that doesn't have a scandal or some type of personality conflict or mental issue. It just seems like people have a lot of problems, but once again, we're human. So, since we're human, we're going to have we're not robots. It's not like, there's a warranty on our body, and when something breaks, we get sent back to a factory and they put a new gear in there or a new battery. When things go bad with us, it can be a very serious and draining experience, emotionally, financially, everything. All your resources can be pulled. Just think, if you lost your job, you got in a horrific accident, and that you were disabled for the rest of your life. your life can be completely different. I mean, like forever, ever. And you may not have been able to control that accident or that loss of job, but you could have actually really lightened the burden and all the stress and strain that could have came from that just by doing a few things ahead of time. So look into prepping. You know, I'm sure if you're in this channel, you already know about some prepping and you're learning more, but just keep at it, you know, and just know that you're responsible for yourself and not so much for other people, unless you're actually directly related to them, you know, family members and so forth. And so you have to do what you have to do to provide to those people that they can't provide for themselves. And only you know who those people are. And so it depends on what you consider your responsibility. And some people actually have a lot larger swath of their ideology of what is their responsibility than others. Some people can't even find the means to be responsible for themselves. And those are the people that I worry about the most. So you guys take care, and we'll catch you real soon.